Hello and welcome back to another video, and today, as you can see, we're back on Tier List Maker once again, and this time we are ranking the MotoGP 2022 liveries. I know you guys seem to really like the last tier list I did of the MotoGP games, so I thought I'm going to try and do some more every so often, and since the MotoGP 2022 liveries are finally all unveiled, I thought I could go through and rank them. But we had to wait so long for Mooney VR46. I wanted to do it a few weeks ago, but we've been waiting for that final livery, but finally it is out. So I'll leave a link to the tier list below so you can try it out yourselves. Let me know what you guys think, because of course this is all personal opinion. But we'll get this started right away. I'm going to go from right to left, so we're going to start off with Tech3 KTM is the first one. So I'm not really sure where to put Tech3 KTM, because the livery, it's nice. Like, there's nothing particularly wrong with the livery, so I don't think I'm going to put it in D. But it's obviously the exact same as it was last year, so it's a little bit tricky to know where to put it. I think I might put it in, I don't know if I can really put it as hot, but I guess B is kind of a middle ground, so I'll put it in B. Just sort of average livery. It's quite nice looking, but obviously it's the exact same livery as it was last year. They didn't change anything. I think the only thing that's actually changed is a couple of logos on the swing arm, and that's down to the company changing their logo rather than anything else. So there's not actually been any livery tweaks to the Tech3 KTM. So next up is the Suzuki, and they've had a little bit of a change this year. Same general design, but they've sort of moved around some of the logos, changed a bit where the silver is, and they've put some more grey around the front, and I think it looks quite nice. The wings are also blue as well, and I think that does look a little bit better than when the wings were in black. I always thought the wings looked a little bit better sort of in 2019 when they were in blue. So I think I'll put Suzuki here in A for now, but I might move it down to B, I'm not too sure, because again, it is quite similar to the other livery. I just need to get a few down here, and then maybe I'll have a look at sort of moving some of the other ones around. But for now, yeah, put that A, because I actually quite like the Suzuki. Like I said, I quite like the fact that the wings are now in blue rather than black. So yeah, I think that should go in the A category. So next up, we got the first of the new teams. Well, I say new teams, but really it's just Petronas rebranded, I suppose. But effectively, it is a new team. So we got RNF Yamaha, and with this livery, you can definitely see where they sort of based it off the Petronas design. So they sort of replaced a lot of the turquoise blue with this darker blue. You can see sort of a lot of the sponsor placements are quite similar as well. Obviously, a lot of the sponsors are the same, with you becoming a title sponsor rather than just a minor sponsor, I think, thanks to Dovizioso more than anything. I'm not really sure how I feel about this livery personally, because it's okay. For me, it's not sort of amazing. Like I said, I mean, it's based off the Petronas livery, which was a decent livery, and I don't know, it's not a bad design. I'm not a fan of like how dark it is. It's just obviously quite dark with the colours. I mean, it's even darker than the actual factory Yamaha. So yeah, it's difficult to say. I think I'll put it in B for now, because S is probably just going to be like one livery in S. So say A is quite high up. B is kind of average. I don't dislike it, but you know, it's not like one of my favourites. C probably, yeah, that's not very good, and D is absolutely terrible. So I think B, I think that's fair for RNF. It's not a terrible livery. I think it's fairly nice, but it's not one that I really like. It's not one of my favourites. So moving on to Repsol Honda, and let's get all the jokes about the way about they haven't changed in 20 years, but this time, because of the new bike, and I think that is going to probably sway my decision a little bit, they've actually changed the livery quite a lot. Obviously, the base colours are the same, but they've sort of changed the positioning and sizes of quite a few of the logos, mainly to fit, obviously, the new bike. But I actually really like it, so I think I'm going to put it up in A. But again, that might be a little bit towards the fact that, oh, I really like this new bike, but the livery itself, I think, is probably better than the older Repsol liveries. Well, the more recent ones. I think the really older ones are probably better still, but yeah, I actually quite like this kind of different take on the Repsol livery. I mean, most of it's still the same, but there has actually been changes. And again, that might be partially why I've been a bit swayed, because we're so used to having no change on the Repsol Honda. So having quite a few changes, even though it's mainly down to the actual bike changing, that kind of excited me. I quite liked it at the time when it first came out. So that's why I sort of put that up in A with Suzuki. So next up then is the factory KTM team, and it's effectively the same as last year as well. Obviously they've put the white outlining around the Red Bull, but I think that's more of a branding thing rather than them actually changing the livery. The IO team in Moto2 and Moto3 have also got the same thing, and all the Red Bull rider helmets now have the white outlining as well, so I don't think that was particularly a choice by the team to change that. I think that was more of a Red Bull decision. But I think I'll probably stick this in B as well. I know I'm kind of contradicting myself by saying, oh, the liveries are like the same, I'm putting in B, and then I've put Repsol Honda and Suzuki up in A, but they've changed a significant amount, whereas, yeah, to be fair, the factory KTM team kind of has changed, but that's just because Red Bull changed their logo rather than changing the livery, and yeah, I mean, it's a fine livery, I don't dislike it, it's just that it's kind of been the same since 2017. Maybe if it was a brand new livery, perhaps I'd put it up higher, because it's not a bad livery, but it's just probably so used to it at this point that only a little change doesn't quite do it exactly. So that's probably why I put it in B. So next up then we've got Pramac Ducati. So this one, the last 2 years they had a pretty similar livery, but they've kind of changed it. Same general colours, however they've got quite a nice pattern, and honestly, I think this probably can go in S. I think that's actually a really nice livery. It sort of disguises the shape of the bike a little bit, makes it probably look a little less bulky, and I think that's just quite nice. I've never really seen anything like this as well in terms of the pattern it's gone with. I think it's a good looking livery, especially it suits the Ducati quite well as well. I'm not sure how good it would look on a different bike, but I quite like the Pramac livery, so that's why I've gone with that in S. It's something different, something we don't tend to see, and that's always good. It's always good when you see what the liveries. Obviously, they have to be quite corporate, but yeah, that's for Pramac, that's quite a nice livery, so that's why I put that one up in S. So then, we're now moving on to the Mooney VR46 team, and honestly, I really don't like that livery. The colour choice is just strange to me. I don't know whether, obviously, some of it, like the yellow and the sort of orangey yellow, that I guess that's for Rossi and for Mooney. And I know that obviously black is kind of the background colour for the sort of Mooney logo, but the weird grey mixed in there. There is one thing I do like about the livery, and that is sort of the retro style numbers sort of being on the back, like they were in the like early to mid 2000s. I quite like that. But the actual livery, I don't like it too much. The front as well, with sort of the yellow backdrop to the numbers, I don't think really suits. It's not too bad on Bezecchi's actually, because Bezecchi has a blue outlining, but it looks really weird with Marini's number because his outline is also orange, so it kind of just looks like his number is just a black 10, and I mean, his font is fairly generic anyway, actually, Marini's. It makes it look even more generic, so yeah, I don't really like the Mooney VR46 team. I'm sure people disagree, but I really don't like that one. I don't think it's a very nice livery, so that's why I put it down in D. So next then is the Monster Energy, the factory Yamaha team, and yeah, again, that is one of the liveries. It's exactly the same. I think only change is, again, to the Akrapovic logo on the swing arm, and then the MSI logos on the front. Now, it's actually not a bad looking bike, so I guess I'll just give it the same sort of treatment as I've given the other liveries that haven't changed and are not too bad looking. Put that in B. Not really a lot to say about it. It's the same since 2019, effectively. It would be nice to see them change it, maybe for the next season, but I kind of doubt that's going to happen. I can't see them really changing it, to be honest. And speaking of liveries that are very similar, obviously they've changed the base colour for this bike, and I'm not sure how I feel about that particularly. I think it looks a little better on track than in the showroom, to be completely honest. I'm not really sure where to put it. I think I'll probably put it in B. Again, just the liveries that haven't sort of changed. I've just kind of put average. Obviously, I know RNF has is a completely new livery, but that's just kind of an average livery to me anyway. But yeah, so the average column starting to fill up quite a bit, but not a lot to say about these two. The factory Yamaha and factory Ducati, they're virtually the same as last year's, so not really anything for me to say about them. So moving on to the two LCR liveries, so we'll do the Idemitsu first, and it's kind of weird. The choice of the colouring is a little bit odd, to be honest. I mean, there's obviously a lot of black sort of on the top, which doesn't look too bad. Then there's kind of a weird brown as well on some parts that just doesn't look so good. I don't know, I think actually when it first came out, I thought it looked fairly decent, to be honest, but looking at it now, it just looks really weird how it's sort of black on the top and then just white down at the bottom. So like the front along the tank all the way to the back of the seat is all black, but then below that it's sort of white for the Idemitsu, and then there's a little bit of white again. It looks kind of weird, like sort of pick your colour. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the carbon liveries in like the MotoGP game to a certain extent, or like when Honda are testing and they sort of have a mishmash bike with, like, you know, when Marquez has got like an Idemitsu middle fairing because that fits on it's like the older part, but it fits on the new bike, and they're testing it to see how it gets on. Just kind of looks a little bit weird. It's not that bad. Like I said, I did like it when it first came out, but I've kind of gone away from liking it a little bit, so put that down to C. Again, it might be one of those things where actually when they're on track and we see the footage, I'll probably change my opinions, and throughout the season, different liveries will grow. And it might be one of those things where actually I move it up quite a lot because I feel like under the floodlights at Qatar, it looks like a really nice livery or something like that. But For now, I'll put it in C. Definitely could move up to B though. So that's the LCR Honda Idemitsu. Not a terrible livery, but it probably would have been better if they'd gone all white rather than having black on there. So then onto the other LCR livery, and it's effectively the same as last year. Again, they've made some little tweaks to fit with the new Honda chassis, but actually not as many tweaks, I think, as Repsol Honda. So that does show that Repsol Honda did just change the livery slightly. I actually quite liked the Castrol livery last year, so I could put it in C. Fairly similar to last year. I quite like the colour choice. I remember thinking it was quite a nice looking bike last year. You can see the parallels with the Idemitsu. I mean, effectively they are kind of the same base livery. They've just got colours changed in different parts. Obviously, they are the same team, so some of the... I imagine the sponsor will be like, well, I want my logo to be on a bit with this colour on the background, so that's probably why. So they keep that the same between the two bikes, and then they change it to suit the other sponsors, like Chivi and Idemitsu will obviously want different things for their different sponsors, so that's probably why it looks a bit different. But you can see the base colour is... the base paint is the same, but just using different colours. But overall, not a bad livery there for the LCR Honda Castrol. I quite like it personally, but again, it's not really changed, so I've just put it in B. I can't really move it any higher up, to be honest, but I think that's probably a fair assessment for that bike. So moving on to the Gresini, and honestly, a very striking livery. Obviously, they've got that very, very sort of light blue, purpley colour. I'm not sure if it is a blue or a purple. I think it is just a light blue, but sometimes it does look a little bit purple when you look at it on its own. With the red on the wings as well, and also the white on the inside of the wings, I think it actually looks like quite a nice livery. So I'm going to put it up in A. I actually quite like it personally. When it first came out, I was a little bit like, but then as I saw more pictures of it, especially on track and that as well, it looks really, really nice. I actually quite like the Gresini livery. It's one of my favourites from this season. And it's also nice just to see Gresini being back in MotoGP as their own team and not part of the Aprilia team, which obviously we'll move on to in a minute. I just quite like it. The colours work quite well together, I think. Again, it's something, like I was saying with the Pramac earlier, it's something that we don't really see. We don't see those colours together. I quite like it. I think it's just a nice looking livery. On to the final livery, the Aprilia. And to be honest, this livery, I really, really like it. I really, really like the Aprilia livery. It just looks so good. I mean, it's kind of based a little bit on the previous one, but as well, I think the black is slightly different. I think it's a bit more of a matte colour. I think the red might be a little different as well, but sort of the red stripes going up, the little purple accents as well, make it look really, really nice. I think the bike as well just looks a quite cool looking bike. I think, again, they've made a good step forward. Obviously, I don't really want the bike to play too much of a part on it, but I let that play a part with Repsol Honda. I know I didn't for the other two Hondas, to be fair, but I think, personally, I quite like the Aprilia. I think it is my favourite livery this year. I remember looking at it in the showroom just thinking, oh, that looks just like such a good bike. People probably disagree. People probably argue that it's very similar to the previous livery, but I think it's changed quite a lot. And I really, really like it. I think it would be cool to see that bike, properly in action sort of next week when the racing does start. It'll be good to see all the bikes, all the liveries actually properly on track, especially under the floodlights of Qatar. But I think that Aprilia will look absolutely fantastic under the floodlights of Qatar. I personally really, really like it. So there we go then. That is my tier list for the MotoGP 2022 liveries. Let me know in the comments below sort of what categories you'd put each livery in, because of course this is all personal preference. There's probably some people that the Mooney livery is their favourite. Their least favourite is probably the Aprilia, complete opposite. Obviously, I filled out the average column quite a bit. Looking at it now, perhaps I would make a couple of changes. I'd probably actually, to be honest, move RNF up to A. It's not a bad livery at all, and it is kind of something different. I know I was saying it's based on the base paint of Petronas, but actually, it's not too bad. The colours are a little bit dark for me, but overall, it's not too bad. So perhaps, yeah, actually, it could move up into A, because I've kind of used B for the liveries that are very, very similar to the last year. But yeah, I would say that's probably it. That's probably my final ranking for the liveries. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, because of course everyone's going to have their own opinions. Some of you are probably screaming at the screen that your favourite liveries down in the bottom could be in the C. Could even be the Mooney VR46 livery. Probably some of you absolutely fuming. But of course it is personal opinion, so do let me know in the comments below what you guys think. But I hope you guys did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.